And it's just the idea that people got to the point where they became scared of so many different foods that they became malnourished because they convinced themselves those foods are too dangerous to eat.
Bringing you a reasoned approach to health and fitness. This is the Phi Life Podcast.
Welcome to the Phi Life Podcast. I'm John Barban. With me is Brad Pilon. And today we're going to talk about the difference between being health conscious or health afraid or health frightened.
Terrified, right?
Terrified.
Yeah. I heard the term come up. It was a comedian. I'm pretty sure just scrolling Instagram, and he's like, I'm not really health conscious. He's like, I'm more health terrified. Like, I just don't want to do all the bad things. But he's like, but everything is bad now. So I jump on something that's good, but then a month later it's bad again. And I'm terrified. Right. I'm doing the wrong thing. And it was a bit of an aha moment to me, right? Because I was like, oh, I generally think people do the things they do in health and fitness because they want to like look good, feel good. But I think there might be an underlying terrified of doing the wrong thing going on, right? Like the marketing and push on everything is always so negative that you're more afraid of doing the wrong thing than you are looking forward to doing the right thing. And I feel that's driving a lot of people's, I want to go health and fitness addiction. Obsession is probably the better word, right? But just that need to be doing the right diet and the right exercise and not eating the bad things and eating the good things and making sure the good things haven't changed to be bad and vice versa.
Right.
Isn't about being health conscious as much as you're really anxious and afraid about the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, social media and just the rise of the internet and the, I guess, unlimited access to almost not just information, but opinion.
Yeah.
So, and lots of people that post about this stuff they're credible. They have credentials. They're physicians or they're PhD researchers. So it's hard to just ignore them if you're not also in that exact field at that level, and you can be quite confident with your opinion, thinking, you know what, my lab has done that research, and I don't buy it.
Yeah.
But the average person that's not working in a food science lab or in a biochemistry lab or a pharmacy or something like that, so they don't know if when somebody says, "Oh, this could be dangerous," you don't actually know. And if it's coming from what sounds like a credible source, you could be scared. It's like plastics. Do we have to be scared of them? Oils, seed oils. Which one? Do we have to be scared of them?
Because they were good for you a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, or the pans you cook in. You have to be scared of it. Like, it just kind of never ends. And you could. I mean, orthorexia was the start of this, where
is it Bratman? What was his last name? That author,
Stephen Bratman. It's the unhealthy obsession with health food. Yeah, we have that.
Yeah,
and it's just the idea that people got to the point where they became scared of so many different foods that they became malnourished because they convinced themselves those foods are too dangerous to eat. And
what was the name of that book? Like, that's worth a reread because we read that.
Steve Bratman, I think, is his name. And it's called The Unhealthy Obsession with Health Food, and then orthorexia or something like that.
Okay, not the obesity myth. That was different?
No, that's something else. That's Campos.
Okay, yeah.
That's something else.
So that's Campos. Okay, so this, like, I remember you told me this book a decade ago, easily. Mm-hmm. And I read it and I was kind of like, yeah, it's kind of on point. I can see how he's talking about some people. And now I think that should be reread by a lot of people because to your point, it's bang on what's going on right now.
And then it just expands from food to all kinds of things. Like we said, like the clothes you're wearing is your deodorant and your shampoo dangerous? Is the packaging that everything's in should you be trying to, plastic straws are bad? It's one thing after another. Not to mention
it's always what's bad, right?
Yeah, it's always what's bad. Yeah. It's never what's the right thing. It's always what's the wrong thing. But it's never. There's not an equal amount of information pushing for what's the right thing. There's just this enormous mountain of information on what's the wrong thing. And when you see it from that standpoint and you're inundated with all the wrong things, it leaves very little room for you to feel confident about what's the right thing. For example, should you eat an egg or not?
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Should you butter or not?
Yeah. I see. I don't even think my issue isn't between the good things and the bad things. I think we have enough of both. We've erased that room in the middle where it's like, probably doesn't matter. And that's not an acceptable answer anymore, right? So it in science, you and I talk a lot about big findings can be significant without being relevant. So statistically speaking, there's a very low probability that the findings happen by chance. So it's significant. But in the real world, these findings won't change your life at all. It's not relevant. And so we have a lot of significant data that just isn't relevant to your day-to-day life or anything like that. And I think accepting that idea that it doesn't matter if I drink this water out of a black cup or a white cup. And most people here would be like, totally agree. I'm like, and it doesn't matter if this water is reverse osmosis or not. Then there's going to be some people who are like, well, that kind of matter. I think that matters. And I don't think it does. Right.
Yeah.
So that middle ground missing.
That's a good point. Hey, throw your microphone, your headphone cable over.
Yeah, there we go.
You're kind of revealing some of the magic,
I know, right?
Just revealed the wizard behind the curtain. Yeah. So you're right. That middle ground is missing, and the interpretation of the data as to its relevance. So efficacy versus effectiveness. So it is, yes, statistically in a paper, you might be able to show something might change that theoretically could be in a negative direction, but are you actually doing the exact thing that's going on in that paper for it to matter in your life? But highly likely no. And in the end, if you're really concerned about anything, just test it in yourself. And that's another thing that's completely left out is the fear of what it might do, the fear of what it could do, this idea of, it increased a risk of X, Y, or Z. But risk doesn't mean anything other than just that. It's a risk. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's all like probabilities. But we're not at all built to function out of thinking in probabilistic terms.
No, geez. And there's so many stats. So you have your odds ratio, which is like, how greater is the likelihood of this event happening. But that still doesn't matter because it's a magnitude of a number. So if the first number was itty bitty bitty, a 4 times larger number could still be itty bitty. Yeah. I remember Dr. Brian talking about effect size being a really important one, more when you're looking at populations, like what was the effect size? But, you think about an Andrew Huberman podcast. You did, and they go on for like 2 hours sometimes, right? Could you imagine if the end of that 2 hours is Andrew going, and that's why none of this really matters. Like that's why you don't hear that information, because no one wants, you feel gypped, right? If you had 2 hours of some guy who's, was he a neuroscientist, whatever, just ending his talk with like, and that's why, in your day-to-day life, this won't make a difference at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't sell. What you want to hear is, and that's why this is a secret to gaining 10 pounds of muscle, or if you do this incorrectly, you'll lose 10 pounds of muscle. That's what people want to hear, which is why we've lost that middle ground of like, this doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter when you start walking, if you start with your left foot or your right foot, right? Like we don't think about that too much every day, but man, someone's going to do a podcast on why it matters if you start on your left and not your right. Like, so, and then you're going to stress over it and you'll be terrified you're doing it wrong.
It's the forest for the trees. And I mean, I think I don't know if maybe we overdo the in-between and does it matter or not, but someone has to be a voice of, okay, let's just bring this back to practical. Are you doing any of this at all? Do you have any of the pillars in place? Do you care at all? Like, why are you reading this stuff if you're not taking action on the simplest things first? And
I had someone ask me what color they should paint their home gym to make them like the strongest, which color visually affects them to make them the strongest. And I was like, dude, it won't matter. Like, what is it's a dark basement, paint it light, depending if you're shooting in it. But he's like, no, it matters. There's research on it. I'm like, I promise you there is, because there's research on everything now. And I promise you they probably even found some sort of significant finding, but it won't matter.
Right? Oh my God, that's absurd. Well, and like, do you do cardio before weights or after weights? Like, who cares? You know
just
what?
Get it done.
Get it done. And most people don't get enough of anything done. Yeah. And that's the other thing. You could end up wasting time being caught up in these things that drive a sense of fear to the point where you don't even get any of the obvious sort of good things done at all while you're generating stress about with fear over the things you shouldn't be doing or things you should avoid.
Yeah.
And again, it still chews up time. It still chews up attention. So
in my space, and to your point, that stress manifests physically, right?
So 100% it does. Yeah.
So if you're completely neurotic about if you're so neurotic about not diseases, but bad things your food will cause, they're going to cause bad things. You're going to have GI upset just because you're worried about if the food gave you GI upset. Like so it is acceptable and completely fine to read over an article on nutrition and fitness and go like, that probably won't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I bet as you're listening to us right now, you could easily come up, like, no problem, right off the top of your head, you could probably come up with a list of a dozen things that you're pretty confident are quote unquote bad for you or not good to do. But I bet you'll struggle to come up with 3 or 4 things worth doing or worth eating or actions worth taking.
Protein, lifting weights, that you'll hit you'll hit our big rocks, and then you'll fall down into the minutia. And the funny thing is, if you write down the minutia, so it's, I don't know, fish oil, something like that, 6 months from now, that might be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But
the minutia ones, big rocks won't be.
Even our big rocks, I bet you can get yourself all caught up thinking protein, but like exactly how much, and lifting weights, but like it's not too heavy, and then cardio, but you don't want to overdo it. Like there's almost no simple, confident answer we can come up with nowadays where we're just sure, oh yeah, I got it. I just got that sorted out. Kind of like the guy you just said, what color to paint his gym? You got to be joking. Just paint it a different color every week if you want. Just work out.
Yeah, just
get what? Done. It's the color that makes you want to get down there and work out and feel good about going down there and working out. That's the color.
Yeah, yeah. So and it's just accepting that a lot of this doesn't matter. And the other thing is that science, when well done, happens typically in a vacuum, right? So it's you're changing one variable. Your life isn't like that. So even if it was fairly relevant in a trial, in free living humans, it might not be relevant. Right. Yeah. Because you have other things going on. So just big rocket, and it's probably worse for you to be health terrified than it is just to be completely health ignorant. Right. So
100%. If you just didn't care about any of this stuff, that's probably serving you better than chewing up mind space and time being anxious and stressed about it. Because at least you're not adding that stress.
Yeah.
Like at minimum, you're not adding an extra stress, especially if you're not going to do anything about it. You're just going to read about it and then feel lousy about it for a while.
Yeah.
So, I mean, other than that, what's our takeaway message here?
It's big rocks again. And it's, with any, probably including ours, but with any podcast or new information place you're going, if they're doing it very regularly for long periods of time, they're going to run out of topics. And they're going to have to go into the health terrified area, right? Of the 10 things you don't know are secretly killing you type of stuff. So keep in mind big rocks. Keep in mind that it's worse to be health terrified. It's worse to be thinking every single thing is killing you. And especially since what's killing you changes every year, right? Like we will not, seed oils is big right now. They were complete nothing burger 5 years ago to almost anyone. Right.
And they were the preference over animal oils.
Exactly. Yeah. And now you're rubbing tallow on your face. So gluten was a big deal. It's kind of not, now they're thinking it wasn't the gluten. It was the glyphosates or something. Like it's just it's never ending. And it's just, if you eat something and it bloats you up to the point where you look like you're 6 months pregnant, don't eat that again.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't think you need to sort of cut down to the gluten type of thing. Just again, go with what makes you look good, feel good, rather than the health terrified approach.
Yeah, I like that. And again, I think our overarching message is always just test to see what happens in your body.
Yeah.
So if you're really truly concerned about something, you've either seen it happen to a friend or family member, or you've read about it and you're like, I'm really concerned about this particular item, whether it's something to eat or I don't know, like a style of workout. Well, then take the time to test it in your body and see, is it truly having a negative effect in your body, or does it just not affect you at all? Or is it the reverse? Your body works really well with that particular style of training or that particular diet. You won't know until you test it. And if it is, in this case, if you've managed to get yourself worked up enough about any of these health, fitness, lifestyle things, and it's just bugging you, you're concerned, you can't just simply ignore it the way we're saying ignore it and be health ignorant versus health terrified. So it's like you've crossed a barrier psychologically and you're stuck.
Yeah.
Now you have this thing you're worried about, and you can't just decide because Brad and John said, don't worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. Now
it doesn't work through that. Yeah.
The only true way to become sort of unworried about it is test, does whatever you think it's doing to you in a negative way, is it actually happening to you? Do a simple test, whatever it is. So you add the thing in or you take it away, or if it's a blood level of something or it's a feeling, whatever it is, test it. And if it's actually having a negative effect in your body, then maybe you've proven it was worth being concerned about and you eliminate it. And now you could be like, oh, that was a good one to get rid of, or that was a good one to change.
Yeah.
But if you test the thing out and nothing's happening, then you hopefully that's proof enough that it doesn't matter what anyone else is saying about it. It just doesn't do that in your body and you're okay.
Yep.
So I guess
John and I both eat a pint of ice cream. In an hour, John will be in the bathroom praying for death and I'll be fine. Right. So is ice cream good or bad? Well, it's neither for me, but it's bad for you. Right. So,
right. Exactly. So then that's just one simple example. And this could go to the very obvious thing here is different foods affect people differently. So you just have to see what happens. Different supplements affect people differently. Certain things I just can't, no matter what the benefit is, when I take them, I get a funny feeling. And there's other things I can totally handle. And it doesn't even matter if it fits the recommendation for whatever condition I might have. You either can handle it or you can't.
Right.
Like I'm on a statin, but if it gave me serious muscle pains, I would go off the statin, regardless of the benefit. But I don't get the muscle pains. I get a huge benefit from the cholesterol lowering. So, okay, good. The statin stays. But there was other things I tried that gave me a really bad reaction. I just eliminated them. And then I just realized, okay, that just doesn't work for me. But it just takes time. This is the only testing anything you're thinking about on yourself is the only way to get over this health terrified feeling.
And then if the people you're following do nothing but scare you, stop following them. They're just, it's just not worth it, right? Because they're just going to be looking. They need to produce content, so every day or week they're going to be looking at the new thing to scare you about. Yeah, get rid of that.
Yeah, and just come back here if you're scared of something. Just come back here, and then we'll talk.
We won't scare you. Yeah,
no, we won't scare you. But again, all we're going to do is remind you if you're scared about it, test it. That's just really all there is to it. All right, I think that's a good place to leave it. It's try to keep that tight. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just if you have any items you're scared about, throw them in the comments and let us know. Maybe we can actually talk about them and guide you through a way to structure a test to see if it's worth taking or worth dealing with, or just to discard it.
Yep.
All right. So for Brad Pilon, I'm John Barban, and that's your Phi Life Podcast.